folks from the Black Lives Matter movement, and he's talking about people taking care of each other. And I find it so interesting that it never occurred to Jason or the writers that that's what these folks were doing. They were taking care of the people in their town.
Jason Aldean has finally fired back at Whoopi Goldberg after she dragged him for promoting racism in his hit song Try That in a Small Town. And according to the latest reports, Jason is thinking of taking Whoopi to court for defaming him.
Jason took to Instagram to respond to the backlash earlier this week, saying that the intention of the song was to refer to the feeling of community and people taking care of their neighbors, quote, regardless of differences of background or beliefs.
The song and music video for Try That in a Small Town have angered a lot of people in Hollywood, and many celebrities called out Jason for promoting racial division. Whoopi Goldberg was particularly outspoken, and she fiercely criticized Jason for going after the BLM movement. However, a lot of people are now defending Jason against Whoopi's insults, and since Whoopi has a long history of going after innocent people and defending the guilty ones, fans are saying that Jason needs to hold Whoopi accountable and sue her for defamation. So what did Jason say about Whoopi accusing him of racism and trying to silence him? Is he really planning to take her to court? Let's break it down.
When you make it about Black Lives Matter, people kind of say, well, are you talking about black people? What are you talking about here?
In case you missed out on the controversy surrounding Jason Aldean's latest hit, Try That in a Small Town, the song has completely divided the internet between those who claim that both the song and the music video are full of racist undertones and others who insist that the song is about unity between people in small towns. The lyrics of Try That in a Small Town highlight the disparities between urban and rural life, implying that certain actions such as flag burning, rioting, looting, and disrespecting the police would not be tolerated in small towns. The song also touches on Jason's stance on gun rights, suggesting that people in small towns would never allow the government to confiscate their guns. However, some people criticize the song for exploiting the frustrations of small town residents and shifting blame onto city dwellers, pointing out that Jason himself is from Macon, Georgia, which isn't exactly a small town. Many fans also took issue with Jason glorifying gun ownership, considering that he survived the 2017 mass shooting at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas. But the real controversy escalated when Jason released the music video for Try That in a Small Town. The video sparked allegations of racism, and some people even accused Jason of promoting lynchings. And this is because the video features Jason performing in front of the courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee, where a black teenager, Henry Choate, was lynched in 1927.
And you see that X right there? That's exactly where they hung him from. Looks familiar, right? Well, it should, because that's the same area that's lit up in the music video, with the American flag hanging there.
However, despite the backlash, the song reached #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and garnered impressive sales. After the video for Try That in a Small Town was released on July 14th, the song debuted at #2 on the Billboard Hot 100 before reaching the #1 spot the following week. However, this didn't stop critics from going after Jason, and many news outlets, celebrities, and political figures criticized the song and accused Jason of promoting division. Variety called Try That in a Small Town the most contemptible country song of the decade and claimed that the music video misrepresents the act of protesting. Rolling Stone also has some harsh words for Jason in his song, pointing out that some of the rioting scenes used in the video were filmed at protests in Canada and other places outside of the US, and some clips were actually commercial stock footage. Many celebs also started bashing Jason for promoting violence. Singer Sheryl Crow tweeted, "Jason Aldean, I'm from a small town. Even people in small towns are sick of violence. There's nothing small town or American about promoting violence. You should know that better than anyone, having survived a mass shooting. This is not American or small town-like. It's just lame." But it was Whoopi Goldberg who had the most to say about Jason's song, and her main issue was that Jason seemingly criticized the Black Lives Matter movement. During a recent episode of The View, Whoopi accused Jason of being out of touch, and she claimed that the Black Lives Matter members were protecting their own community just like people in those small towns that he sings about.
You know, he talks about life in a small town, and it's different, you know, and he shows these images. He's got folks from the Black Lives Matter movement, and he's talking about people taking care of each other. And I find it so interesting that it never occurred to Jason or the writers that that's what these folks were doing. They were taking care of the people in their town because they didn't like what they saw. Just like you talk about people taking care of each other in small towns. We do the same thing in big town.
Whoopi claimed that Jason made the whole video about BLM, and she implied that he was indirectly blaming all black people for looting and rioting.
When you make it about Black Lives Matter, people kind of say, well, are you talk about black people? What are you talking about here? If we're talking about Americans taking care of each other, then it shouldn't be about Black Lives Matter. You should be able to show all the different things that have gone on in our country where people stood up and said no more. We do the same thing that small towns do.
Alyssa Farah Griffin, however, said that she was willing to give Jason the benefit of the doubt, adding that she understands why some people are critical of BLM.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that his intent wasn't to, stoke division, glorify violence, or racism. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt that George Floyd's death and murder was evil, it was wrong, it was unacceptable, but so was the killing of someone like David Dorn, a black retired police officer who was defending his friend's store and was shot during the riots and aftermath of that movement. So I think if people of good faith can see both sides, they can see there is an issue with this song because of what it means to a lot of communities, but there is an issue.
And then Whoopi interrupted Alyssa, saying that she shouldn't be linking looting and rioting to the black community as a whole, and she also called Jason disconnected for defending gun ownership after witnessing the Las Vegas incident.
Of looting, of rioting.
Yes, but why are you linking it to black people?
Well, that's
that's the issue.
That's the issue. The imagery is what becomes very problematic.
You can sing about there's a lot wrong here with this. This is a man who saw what happens when someone is out of control with their guns.
Yeah,
he was performing in Vegas, and he saw people get. So I don't understand how he could be that disconnected. How people around him didn't say to him, hey, listen, you know what? Maybe there's a better way to do this.
However, Whoopi's history of making controversial statements such as defending SA offenders like Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski has led some fans to point out that Whoopi is a hypocrite. Whoopi initially supported Bill Cosby against accusations of SA, and she raised doubt about the credibility of his accusers. However, once it became clear that Cosby was guilty, Whoopi quickly changed her stance. Whoopi also spoke out in support of French director Roman Polanski, who SA'd a 13-year-old girl back in 1972, and she suggested that this wasn't legitimate SA.
Was not charged. I know it wasn't.
Yeah,
there is a
statutory.
Child,
maybe I'm not sure
it was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was.
So as you can see, Whoopi's moral compass is, well, strange to say the least, because she's very quick to defend offenders, but then she gets all up in arms over a country song? And this is exactly why fans are saying Jason Aldean should sue Whoopi for defamation, because she's been getting away with saying reckless things for a long time without ever being held accountable. One fan said, Whoopi probably had a lot of fans from her acting career. Being on The View and hearing her thoughts, I was shocked at who she is at the core. Whatever admiration I have had for her is gone. I find her despicable. And another person wrote, this is what happens when people don't listen and just jump to conclusions, which is what Whoopi has done for years. People are tired of entertainers pushing their narrative. Jason Aldean did a great job, and it is what a lot of people believe. He needs to sue her. She has gone way too far. But what about Jason? How did he react to Whoopi calling him out on national TV? Well, Jason recently broke his silence on all the allegations being leveled against him and denied that Try That in a Small Town is about race. There's not a single lyric in the song that references race or points to it, Jason wrote. Also adding that while he respects other people's interpretation of his song and video, this one goes too far. Jason also addressed the criticism over his gun ownership stance and wrote, as so many people have pointed out, I was present at Route 91, where so many lost their lives, and our community recently suffered another heartbreaking tragedy. No one, including me, wants to continue to see senseless headlines and families ripped apart. Jason insisted that the message of Try That in a Small Town is not about division, and that he was actually referring to the feelings of community among people of all backgrounds who live in small towns. It refers to the feelings of community I had growing up, where we took care of our neighbors regardless of our differences of background or belief, Jason wrote, because they were our neighbors and that was above any differences. But how do you feel about this ongoing debate over Jason's song? Do you believe Jason should take legal action against Whoopi for defaming him? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to check out this next video.